Welcome everyone to the July meeting. Tonight's agenda is pretty standard for us. Other than the presentation, will not be a single person, but you, the members. Let's dig in, but before we do, I just want to reiterate what Scott said. Use the raise your hand button anytime you feel like you have something to say. We don't want this to be a monologue from me. Our general meetings in person are always interactive, and we like to maintain that here as well, and we encourage people to share, which we'll be doing in the next few slides. All right, so the first opportunity for some interaction here is, do we have any non-members, any visitors that are joining us for the first time?
Ralph, WA2QYA, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good.
WA2QIA, name is Ralph. QTH is West Seneca, New York, just outside of Buffalo. I did check in a couple of months ago, but I always get your newsletter, saw the meeting tonight, and thought it would be a wonderful thing to do just to kind of sit in and watch and listen. With that, I'll turn it back to net control, as they say.
All right, thanks Ralph for joining us. I'm just going to hop onto Ralph's comment there and use this as an opportunity to thank Forrest and the others that contribute to our newsletter every month for doing such an excellent job. Operating tales. So it's been a month of pretty nice weather to get outside if you're operating mobile or portable. And in general, summer, people have some opportunities once you get the grass cut. Is there anyone that has some good operating experience from the last month or so that they want to share? All right, I'm going to keep moving along, but if anyone... Oh, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good evening. Just while you were quiet there for a minute, I wanted to say hello from Missouri. Good evening, and it's great to be able to be in the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thanks for attending.
All right. Next up, Tim Barrett, are you here yet? Yes, you are. Of course, we talked earlier. So if you'd like to talk a little bit about the membership and opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, this is Tim, another Tim, membership secretary. So I just wanted to update everybody. Our membership, the club is doing very well. We have 525 members as of today. Maybe not as high as it was back in the 60s, but it's pretty darn good, I would say. And I did some research recently. I looked at a report I got from the ARRL. We're one of the largest clubs in the USA. We're beaten by Dayton, but then they do have a Hamvention to organize, so I guess they are going to be a big club. The other clubs that are larger than us are mostly ones that have some membership from running a net. So people join from all over the country, perhaps all over the world, and their membership does not lapse. So once someone's joined, they're there forever. So I suspect that we really are one of the top 3 or 4 regional clubs, which is really good. And I'm especially pleased to see how active we are, even with all the lockdowns and restrictions in place. If you're listening and you're not a member, then we would love to have you join us. Just go to our website, rochesterham.org. It's $15 or $10 for seniors or associates. We have a really good deal at the moment because our membership year runs to the end of September. So what we do this time of year, we extend it through to September of next year. So if you join now, you'll get 15 months for the price of 12, which is a pretty good deal. Next slide, please, Tim. And I just also wanted to say something about the ARRL. I'm sure most of you know that's the National Radio Organization, amateur radio organization in this country. And they do an enormous amount for the hobby, monitoring spectrum abuse, coordinating with the other national clubs, lobbying for spectrum protection, and publishing magazines, managing a QSL card bureau, running Logbook of the World, so forth and so on. I wanted to point out 2 things that you may not be aware of. One is that if you're not a member and you'd like to join, if you email me, and my email is on the website, then you can join through RaRa, we get a $15 benefit from RaRa, from ARRL, and we pass it directly on to you. So instead of paying $49 to join, you pay $34. The other thing, which I think, which applies to everyone who's a member of ARRL now and people who might join, a really great deal that they're now doing. It used to be that you received Radcom in print if you join, and you still do. But they have 3 other magazines, QEX, which goes into far more technical detail than QST, On the Air, and NCJ, and that's the National Contest Journal. These are all now available online to members. So you get 4 magazines for the membership. On the Air is a non-technical magazine, and I think it's really good. Even I'm a fairly experienced amateur, but when I looked at it, I learned a couple of things. The National Contest Journal is obviously primarily for contestants, but it has articles on things like how to make your station perform well in contests, and that's of interest to everybody, I would have thought. So those 4 magazines make really attractive thing for membership, I think, make it really worthwhile. If you're interested in joining and you'd like to go through us and save that $15, again, just email me and we'll work out how to do it. I'll point you to the paperwork. Okay, that's all from me. Any questions, just email me at membership@rochesterham.org. Sorry. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tim. And while we're here, I'll say once again that we are here to be interactive. So if you have a question that you think would benefit others to know the answer for anything that Tim said or anything that comes up for the rest of the evening, feel free to raise your hand and we'll see if we can get an answer for you. All right. Next segment is club reports. RaRa is one of the largest clubs in the Rochester area, but we share members with many smaller clubs or other clubs that focus on particular aspects of the hobby or particular geographic regions. And we always like to leave some time during our meeting to let those clubs make any announcements. So if you have an announcement that you want to make on behalf of another club, please raise your hand and Scott will unmute you.
Ralph Dutcher, go ahead.
Hi, Scott and the rest of the group. This is Ralph Dutcher from Monroe County Aries Races. I'm the emergency coordinator now for the county, the Aries group. And just a quick report from what we've done recently. May 30th was a national event for Aries and the American Red Cross. American Red Cross has a MOU, a memorandum of understanding with the American Red Cross, and this is the first national style event that was been carried out. At that point, we did some processing using WinLink and using FLDigi, and actually there were probably, from the reports I got back, over 1,000 people participating in it. The basic idea was to simulate a power outage, a internet outage, and a dependency upon then the internet, the original social media, I'll call it, the amateur radio world. So it was a very interesting exercise for us. It was a learning exercise for us. And we had probably, I would say, upwards of 20 people or so carried on for most of the morning on May the 30th. So very good response back, and we look forward to possibly doing this again in the fall. So look for information to be circulated out. You don't necessarily have to be a member of Aries and Races to participate in this, but we are using the Aries background and the Aries training for that. So we encourage folks to participate. We have a weekly net that's out there, and we're averaging probably around 21 people on the net on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And that's on the 146.6 or the 444.5 UHF. So that's all I've got for now, but that's the word from Monroe County Aries Races. Back to you.
Thanks, Ralph. That was great.
And we have Harry Hoffman.
Hi, this is Harry Hoffman. My call is KA2ENE, and I'm a member of the Rochester VHF group. Just want to remind everybody that we have 2 weekly nets. We use a single sideband on 2 meters and 6 meters on Monday nights at 9 p.m. local time on 144.260 for our 2-meter net, and on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. local time on 50.200 upper sideband for our 6-meter net. We do run Net Logger, which you can use to check in, keep track of the nets, and we also have an Echolink node, which is my call sign, KA2ENE-L, node number 23426, and we'd love to have people join our net. Usually runs about an hour's time. We do 2 rounds, and we talk about just about anything, 6 meters and up, or anything else you might want to talk about. Thanks. Back to the net.
Well, I can add on to that I've been a member of the VHF group for about 6 months, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. You guys are doing a good job with some of the presentations, and the Groups IO thing has a lot of interesting things on it as well. So thanks, Harry. John Lloyd.
Okay, I'm just trying to check in. I got some pictures, but then I didn't get any sound, so I'm still working on connecting here, I guess.
Well, it sounds like you got the sound going.
Yes, the sound's going fine. It's no video now. I have the club reports in front of me. Antique Wireless Association Astronomy Section.
Yeah, that's what we have right now.
Ah, there we go. Now I got your picture.
We're only showing video when the particular member is speaking at this point.
Okay, I got Tim Barrett.
And only the panelists are the way that the GoToMeeting thing works.
Okay, we're located in Honeoye, New York. And
one of your meetings?
I haven't been a member of the Squaw Valley Club for a long time. I really don't have a station set up. I have a 2-meter radio in the garage with a 5/8 whip on the roof, and I have a 2-meter and 440 rig in the car, and that's how we operate. So I'm back to the club reports screen.
Okay, thanks very much. Go ahead, Edward.
I just want to make an announcement that Drumlins is having a fox hunt on July 19th, which is a Sunday. Check-in is 0845 on 146.685 EL 71.9. All are welcome.
Yeah, Ed, Mike Moore gave me a heads up, so we got your sort of press release in on its own slide here for everyone to see all the details.
Ralph has got his hand up again, WA2QYA.
Thank you. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring this up, but I'm also a member of Lancaster Amateur Radio Club, W2SO. I'm right now filling out an application for RaRa to renew my membership, which lapsed probably 30 years ago. But anyway, be that as it may, a reminder, there's a Batavia Hamfest will still be held this year. There'll be social distancing and so forth, masks necessary, but that'll be on Saturday, July 18th at the Alexander Fireman Grounds. And if you want more information on that, you simply go to the website w2so.org. There is a free tailgating, it begins at 6 a.m. and admission is, I believe, $7, $8. And that includes free parking and tailgating. So with that, I'll turn it back. Thank you.
Education is a little bit different now that we are meeting remotely. When we are meeting in person, we have an Elmer's Corner, which happens before the meeting, where you can come in and ask a question. We have, Elmer's signed up for every meeting in a half-an-hour window. At the moment, we will not be meeting in person in August. We are still trying to determine what that's going to look like for September, so we will keep you posted via details on the website and in the RAG. The other education item, Tim, if you want to do these, you can too.
Yes.
Sorry, I just got rolling. Go right ahead.
All right.
This is Tim Brown, WV2PAY. I'm Education Coordinator. And as Tim number 1 or 2 or 3, well, there's 3 of us at least here. People are doing home study now. We have had to discontinue the license classes. I am not certain whether we're going to renew them in the flesh, so to speak, in September. But we will have courses probably online if we can't get into a facility like RIT. In lieu of that, the Elmer's Corner, I've had a couple of requests for information. I've published in the RaRa rag that we would like you to, if you've got a problem or you've got a question or you're newly licensed, drop a note to education@rochesterham.org, and I'll try and solve your problem. If I can't, I've got a slew of Elmers and a lot of wise people in this organization that can help you. I've had 2 or 3 requests already. One guy set up an antenna. Another one had questions about propagation that we were set him in the right direction. Ralph mentioned, when QYA mentioned the Batavia Hamfest, that is one of the notes I have on mine as far as VE testing. If you're studying at home and you're ready to test, there are some testing coming up. The closest one is July 8th. That's next Wednesday at Squaw Island Amateur Radio Club. And you have to pre-register for these because they're limited in how many people they can put in a small room, I believe. Squaw Island Amateur Radio Club, you can look that up at siarc.us. That's siarc.us. The contact person is Russell Harris, N2IZV, and his contact information is 585-738-0321. That's to register for the Squaw Island testing next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. I believe it's at their EOC. Batavia Hamfest will also have testing at 8 a.m. To pre-register, you have to contact Don Maxwell, and I believe Ralph already gave w2so.org/Batavia Hamfest. We'll get you more information. So John Maxwell, his phone number is 716-404-9256. And lastly, the Rock City Hamfest, if it comes off, which I'm hoping, everybody's hoping it will on August 29th, is requested RaRa to do the testing. Don Kaiser, our VE coordinator, is working with Joe, K2ZX, to arrange that, come up with a plan. The exact time will be announced on the Rock City Facebook and on rochesterham.org under license testing. So avail yourself if you're home studying, and if you're planning on home studying or upgrading and you need a license manual, I have general class and tech classes books available. The extra class, I do not have any. They expired yesterday. So the new batch of questions will be implemented starting this week, and I do not have any manuals at this time. So if you want an extra class license manual, please reserve them at education@rochesterham.org. And lastly, the RaRa Academies, you can find the past ones. We've had them on digital communications, DMR, D-Star, and Fusion. Find those recordings at rochesterham.org under Academy. And this fall, I'm planning on having Larry, W2LB, and Pete, WB2UAQ, and possibly a couple others that have experience in antenna analyzers, putting on a presentation about various analyzers, the MFJ, the new nano VNA analyzers, and more than just SWR measurements, coax losses, impedance, checking capacitance and inductance. So there's a lot of features that these new analyzers will do, and you'll get an earful, I'm sure. And not sure whether that's going to be in person or virtual. We'll have to wait and see how things fare it out in the next few months. Keep advised, watch the RaRa website for that information. Any questions about education that I can, before I sign off?
Not seeing any.
Okay. Bye-bye for now.
Whoa, thank you, Tim. getting ahead of ourselves here with the slides. Forrest, would you like to give a little overview of the CW group? And then I have the awards on the next slide.
Okay. Well, you got it pretty much covered here. Like it says on the slide, we have 47 participants. And what we are is a group of Elmers and beginners and relearners. And we've come together to help each other become a little more proficient in CW. And some people are really good and can copy in their heads, and some people are struggling along at 4 or 5 words a minute, and it doesn't matter. It's for everyone who wants to participate. We have a net on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock on 50.25 where we meet on sideband, have a little discussion, then we pair off 2 at a time for a short practice, and everybody else listens, and then at the end we have a little autopsy of how everybody's copying and sending was, so everybody gets a feel for how everybody else does. And if I saw the next slide, we have a CW challenge going on. It started May 1st, and it ends the end of August. And it's basically for the beginners and relearners to show off their progress. And so what you see on the right side of the screen there is the different people who are participating and how many contacts they've made so far. And we have certificates for different levels of proficiency, 5, 10, 25, 50, what's 100, 250, 500, and well, we'll see if somebody has 1,000, but basically there's a certificate and we make a little change down there. So by completing blank CWQ cells, we put the magic number of 5, 10, etc. in there. So I think that's all I have on the CW group. I have a couple other things if you, on the reg, if you want that now or shall I wait?
Yeah, go right ahead, Forrest.
Okay. If you notice in the last 2 issues, the June and July issue, we've tried to put some video to go with the articles. Oh, there we are. And if you would like to write an article, I would love to have more authors and more articles. And if you're really brave, like Bill Hopkins was, he was our guinea pig in June, and he did a video on his CX. That would be fantastic also. So the videos are nothing fancy. I think Bill used his iPhone. The one I did last month, or for the July issue, I just used my SLR in video mode. Just took 3 really short videos instead of making one long one. So that would be greatly appreciated if you want to add to the quality of the reg by let's throw some videos in there. And hopefully in one of the next couple of regs we're going to have an article on how to make videos for the reg, or at least how to make simple videos so you can submit them. Let's see what else. The magic date for videos and for articles is the 15th of the month. So July 15th would be the due date for anything that would go into the August issue of the reg, and August 15th for the September issue of the reg, et cetera, et cetera. And I think my last comment is that I believe you can still sign up for the reg for free, even if you're not a member of RaRa. Scott would have to verify that for me, because I haven't looked in a while. But I think the last I heard, we're up around 4,500 email addresses that we distribute the reg to. So, and we only have 525 members. So you see, some people are interested, even though they're not RaRa members. And I think that's really fantastic for the club. We have that many people interested in us. So, anyways, back to you, Jim.
Just email editor@rochesterham.org to add your email on, and then Forrest will get it over to me.
Okay.
Thank you, Forrest. Mike, are you here to pitch some public service?
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, everyone. Regarding the public service events that we have coming up in the fall, September 12th is Bike MS Rock the Ride. I checked today, and the ride is still on as of today. And in addition, on September 19th, the Fairport Lift Bridge Regatta will be held on the canal in Fairport. And I got an email today from Mark, KC2UES, that activity is on. So it appears that the public service events that we have planned for the balance of the year are a go. So Tim, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Mike, what are the time commitments for these events?
So Rock the Ride, you really need a minimum of 4 hours to really be helpful. I can tell you that the September 12th event, we generally meet at Genesee Valley Park at 8 a.m. and the last riders return about 5 o'clock in the evening. So if you could spend the whole day, that would be good. But the bulk of the work is like half a day. So if you could work, say 7 to 2, or I'm sorry, 9 to 2, that would be a big help. And the other thing that I believe from looking at the website, it looks like there will not be a 100-mile ride this year. It looks like a shorter distance, so it may be abbreviated, but I'm not certain of that at this point. We have not received the final routes. The Lift Bridge Regatta is from roughly 7 a.m. till probably 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and but there again, if you could offer a half a day, you certainly could be of help. Did that answer your question?
It sure did. And do you want to mention equipment requirements for those?
Oh, okay, good. So the September 12th event, last year we required that you have a dual band radio because we were not able to use the 145.11 repeater because of the Hamfest, which was held on the same day. This year, I have not seen the plan from our captain yet, but I suspect that a 2-meter mobile radio may be sufficient.
Well, if Mike's voice starts talking again, I'll stop. But having worked both of these events, I'll finish what I think he was saying. For Bike MS, it is most helpful to have a mobile with 30 to 50 watts of power because the routes go pretty far. And while we do have repeater coverage, a 5-watt handheld on a rubber duck inside a car 30 miles from the repeater is not always very effective. They do have a few stations for that event where you could operate with a handheld, but if you have a mobile, that's definitely preferred. For the Lift Bridge Regatta, it's definitely everything is almost line of sight. You can definitely do it with a handheld. That operation is run simplex, but you can still do it with a handheld because it's only a couple miles long.
And Mike had also mentioned that they have loaner radios as well, or we do.
Yeah, usually, to be clear to everyone, the radios that get loaned out on these events are private property, so a member is loaning you a radio of theirs, so please care for them accordingly. I'd hope that you would care for a club radio just as much, but I think it's more important to put the personal emphasis on it. So, if you have, for example, for Bike MS, if you have a pickup truck and you're able to carry people, but you don't have a radio, we can probably find a radio and a mag mount antenna for you to borrow.
Experience level, Tim?
Frankly, if you have zero experience operating one of these events, the Lift Bridge Regatta will be easier, only because you don't have to coordinate operating a radio with driving on routes. But either one is relatively simple. The guidelines are essentially to not chatter for the sake of it. So call into net control if you see something that you think needs attention, but otherwise wait to be called. And if you have a GPS, or if you don't have a GPS, have good maps with you for the Bike MS. Mike and I don't know who the coordinator is for that one, but they always publish really good Google Maps that you can zoom in and print out a couple sections of the route to have with you so that you can see the cross streets. It's really helpful if there's a rider down for you to notify us of the net control of the cross street, or for net control to be able to tell you what cross street to travel to. Does that answer the question, Scott?
Yeah, and then Mike also said, I'm just reading off his questions for whatever happened to his audio, that you can go to rochesterham.org and go to the public service page. You'll find the link on the left side of the page. And there's a sign up there. It'll send you to a Google form. And it has a bunch of questions as well as to what hours, what equipment you have, what you like to do, and things like that. And I'm not sure, because he wasn't very explicit here. He said Phil, K2ELV. Not exactly sure what that means.
He was saying that Phil Vasali, he's the coordinator for Bike MS Rock the Ride.
That's kind of what I figured. So
Phil does a lot of legwork. Phil doesn't make it to a ton of meetings, but don't let that make you think that he's not active and participating. He does a lot of work and does an excellent job coordinating and communicating. So if you think you might be interested, and even if it is your first time doing a public service event, go ahead and fill out the form online. Like Scott just said, the form asks a bunch of questions and there's some free form space. So if you want to say, hey, I've never done this before, can you give me some extra guidelines? I'm sure these guys would be willing to help out.
Well, you're probably a good person to talk about being new at it and jumping in. And it sounds like, I haven't done it myself. I hope to do it at some point. And I think it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Plus,
this
you're doing
is
some good things for the community.
After I got my license, this is really the first thing that I did related to amateur radio. Was I'm not sure if it was Bike MS or Tour de Cure, or I think there was a third one for a while. But it's a great way to listen to what other people are doing. But and get familiar with being on your radio and being on the air on repeaters or simplex in the case of the regatta. And if you mess up, people in the organization understand. As long as you're courteous and are working to communicate the important information we need to, everybody's going to get along and you're going to get some great experience.
Well, there's no questions outstanding. I'm not sure if you have this in here or not, but Brian O'Connor wanted to talk about Field Day. Is that on your list of slides here?
I don't know if I have I don't think I have a Field Day slide. Let me just, we'll skip that for a second. All right. I'll just leave this up, Brian, if you want to talk about Field Day, and then Tim will have you cover ILW.
Hi there. Can you hear me well?
Sure can.
Okay, great. Yeah, it probably would have fit into the recent operating back in the prologue. But at any rate, this past weekend was a very interesting field day with not many stations doing their field deployment the way they had in prior years. Things were very active. I participated as a 1 Delta class, which is basically a home base station. This year, the ARRL gave dispensation to the 1 Delta class that permitted them to score points with other 1Ds. So that was a gesture that they made to the unique circumstances. I know that people in the area were active from 160 up through at least 2 meters, from 160 to 2 meters. I myself never ever got on 80 meters because there was so much going on 40, 20, 15, and 10. I probably put 5 hours into the seat. I got about 115 contacts, but it was a very nice way to spend the weekend. So I guess I'd like to hear if other people had, their field day experiences, and we'll look forward to the next opportunity. So that's about it for me.
Thanks, Brian. If anybody else wants to share something about field day, it's okay that we're past the slide. I can go back if it makes people feel more comfortable.
Well, I'll jump in there. K3WHD, Dave. Yeah, I joined in on the field day also. I was running a 2D, and I think I wound up with over 376 contacts for the little bit of time, a little bit on Saturday and then Sunday. Like he was saying, the bands were jumping all over the place. I had one rig doing FT8, and I was talking on the other one, and it was sometimes very difficult to keep up with both because it was very crowded. As a matter of fact, there was some issues too, and that a lot of folks were having the new version of WSJTX crash on them, causing the system to reboot and lockups and even duplicates. So you had to go through your log and go through that. So, yeah, but it was a lot of fun. Look forward to doing it again. And as a matter of fact, as far as contests, another one that I would like to mention, if folks aren't aware of it, it's starting today, is the 13 colonies. And that's another fun contest that goes from July 1st to July 7th. And they're on all bands, and they're doing CW, sideband, and digital. So check it out. You just look for the various special 13 colony call signs, which are all K2s, and then a letter. You can go to the 13 colonies website and check it out. It's a lot of fun. That's all for me.
I think I put that on the operating page for RaRa, the 13 colonies. And I did manage to make some contacts last year on that. Robert Cars, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? I think I guess I'm okay. This is Bob Cars, K2OID. I'm field day chair for the XRX Radio Club. We went it alone this year, but we had a regular 3A activity, and I just thought I'd give you a little bit about how it went. There were 11 of us participating, and we did social distancing very strictly. We had three stations operating under a big tent, but widely separated, and you were operating under a schedule. You were only allowed to be there when you were supposed to be operating. And we made 782 contacts, a little bit less than we usually do. But aside from that, it worked out pretty well. It was pretty much I almost had a feel of a normal field day to it, except not much food around and fewer people than usual. We only used wire antennas rather than raising our tribander, but I had a lot of fun. I think the one thing that's interesting is because we've done field days so many years, I could compare the ratio of different classifications, what percentage were 3A, 2A, 1A, 1D, that kind of thing. And it turns out that this year, the number of 1D stations went up by about a factor of 5. The number of 2A and 3A stations went down by about 2/3. In other words, about 1/3 as many 3A and 2A stations. And the 1A stations remained about constant, and some of the others, the 1Cs and the 1C particular, were up just a little bit, maybe 20 or 30%. They weren't much to begin with, as most of the people in clubs seem to have gone to 1D. A few of them went to the others. But it sure sounded like a regular field day in terms of the activity on the air, I'll tell you. And we had a lot of fun. So thanks for letting us get that out. Worked out really well for us. I was glad that we made that decision to not go our separate ways, but to have a club event.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for reporting that.
So right now on 40 meters is K2 Alpha, Bravo, Foxtrot, and Echo.
Thanks, Don.
All right, we have.
I guess Don is referring to the various 13 colony stations.
Yes,
That's
I
what I
am.
would guess.
Yep, I see them on 40, and the pan adapter is showing 40 is active.
Okay, that's going to be a fun thing to do the next couple days. Thank you.
All right, we have one more bit of information, future activity to share before we get on to the various presentations. Just looking at the attendees. Tim, would you like to talk about ILW?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Sure can.
All right. Yeah, Dave Timmons is the lead for that, and he is out camping at Golden Hill Park. I was out there this weekend and had a few brews with him, and he's looking forward to the Lighthouse Weekend, which is August 22nd and 23rd at the Charlotte Lighthouse on Ladder Road and Lighthouse Road. This will also be concurrent with our amateur radio open house for RaRa, and hopefully we get a lot of people attending that. We still have not gotten final word whether the lighthouse will be available and open for us to use, because we do put our antennas up there and we use their facilities for personal relief. So we'll have to wait and see how the lighthouse goes. Watch the RaRa Rag and the RaRa website for more details. But it's a fun way to get out there, meet other hams, and get a tour of a beautiful lighthouse and a great view of the Genesee River as it exits to the Lake Ontario.
Thanks, Tim. And this year we're adding a little bit more focus on interacting with the public, so we'll be setting up some additional information and engaging people more that might be coming to see the lighthouse, and we're going to publicize it as a sort of open house event. Being outside, we will of course follow required precautions, but it's generally safer to be outside anyways, so we'll be doing that. And that means if you know anyone that you think might be interested in ham radio that isn't necessarily looking to jump in by coming to one of our meetings, this is a great opportunity for them to stop by, get a demonstration, possibly get some hands-on experience, and generally gather some more casual awareness of the hobby.
What's
And with
the hours,
that,
Tim? The
wow,
hours?
that's a great question. Can you answer that, Tim Brown?
I didn't catch the question, Tim, number one.
What are the hours that we'll be operating that weekend?
Very good. Usually we start operating about 11 a.m. and then wrap it up about 4:30 on both days. And setup is Friday, the day before. We're usually out there in the afternoon putting up antennas.
In the past, Tim, we've had a sheet that you've handed around to pick hours for people to come and operate. That's a little more difficult right now. Do you want to try and do something? Maybe Mike Moore can set up a Google sheet or something. Or do you want to just have people email
For the lighthouse, we're definitely going to have it for the open house for people to come. So as we're not having a lot of hams standing around and not interacting when they don't need to. I'm not sure if we're going to have a sign-up sheet for Lighthouse Lightship operation, but it probably would be good to have sign-ups for both of them.
We'll work something out. We'll talk about, Tim and I will talk about it tomorrow. We'll get something set up, and either, at a minimum, I would consider emailing education and saying, hey, I'd like to do 2 o'clock on Sunday or 2 o'clock on Saturday. And then he can at least get an idea of where there's conflicts and stuff. But we'll get it posted up on the website. But it's a lot of fun. I've done it a couple of years, and I think it's great.
Well, we've also recruited a couple of new members from that. The past 2 years, we've had at least one new member each time. So it helps to pass the word, and people get inspired, and they join RaRa and get their licenses.
All right, thanks, Tim. Any other questions on ILW? All right, then. Now it's time for the next part of the meeting, where people have an opportunity to tell us about their shack, their operating location.